Something is about to wake up inside you, a force that has been sleeping, wandering, dissolving in waters that were never its home. On April 9th, 2026, Mars enters Aries for the first time in over 2 years. The warrior returns to the battlefield it was born to command, and when Mars comes home, everything that has felt stuck, delayed, or impossible begins to move with a speed that will take your breath away. Most people do not understand what this transit actually means. They hear that Mars is changing signs, and they scroll past it like any other forecast. But this is not any other transit. Mars rules Aries. It is the only sign where Mars operates at full power, with no filter, no hesitation, no compromise. For the past 2 years, Mars has been traveling through signs where it had to negotiate, adapt, and sometimes surrender. In Pisces, it dissolved. In Aquarius, it intellectualized. In Capricorn, it strategized. In Sagittarius, it wandered. But in Aries, Mars does not negotiate. It acts, it strikes, it decides, and moves before doubt has time to whisper its objections. In the next few minutes, I will reveal 3 things that will fundamentally change how you move through the next 6 weeks. First, exactly what happens in your body and your life when the planet of action returns to the sign of pure initiation. Second, the specific window within this transit where your actions carry 10 times their normal weight, and why missing this window means waiting another 2 years. And third, the ancient warrior practice that aligns your personal will with this cosmic fire in a way that transforms obstacles into fuel. If you have been feeling like you are pushing through mud, if decisions that should be simple have felt impossibly heavy, if your motivation has been flickering like a candle in wind rather than burning like the fire you know lives inside you, stay here. The flame is about to be restored to its proper altar, and what happens next depends entirely on whether you are ready to strike when the iron is hot. Let me tell you what Mars actually is, because the modern world has forgotten, and that forgetting has cost us something essential. In ancient Rome, Mars was not merely the god of war. That is the simplified version history books teach to children. Mars was the god of spring, of agricultural protection, of the vital force that pushes seeds through soil and armies through enemy lines. The month of March is named for Mars. It was considered the first month of the Roman calendar, the beginning of the year, the moment when the earth itself woke from winter sleep and began to move again. The priests of Mars were called the Salii, the leapers. Each spring they would dance through the streets of Rome carrying sacred shields, leaping and striking the ground with their feet, physically waking the earth with the percussion of their bodies. They understood something that our sedentary age has forgotten. Energy does not flow unless it is summoned. The body does not activate unless it is commanded. And Mars is the planet that issues that command. In your birth chart, Mars represents how you fight, how you desire, how you pursue what you want. It is your aggression, your ambition, your physical vitality. It rules the muscles, the blood, the adrenal system that floods your body with the chemistry of action. When Mars is well placed and well aspected, you know how to go after what you want. When Mars is afflicted or suppressed, you feel impotent, frustrated, turned against yourself. For the past 2 years, Mars has been wandering through signs that asked it to be something other than what it is. In Pisces, Mars was asked to surrender, to dissolve boundaries, to fight with compassion rather than conquest. That is not Mars. In Aquarius, Mars was asked to think before acting, to consider the collective, to channel aggression into ideology. That is not Mars either. In Capricorn, Mars found some dignity through discipline, but even there it was constrained by rules and hierarchies. In Sagittarius, Mars scattered its energy across too many horizons, chasing meaning rather than victory. But Aries is different. Aries is where Mars was born. Aries is fire, cardinal, masculine. It is the spark that ignites. It is the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of pure beginning, of existence declaring itself without apology. When Mars enters Aries, it does not need permission. It does not wait for favorable conditions. It creates the conditions through the sheer force of its movement. On April 9th at 2:23 a.m. Eastern Time, Mars crosses from Pisces into Aries. Pay attention to what happens in your body at that threshold. You may feel it as a sudden clarity after weeks of fog. You may feel it as heat rising in your chest, energy flooding into your limbs for no apparent reason. You may feel an almost aggressive surge of motivation, a desire to move, to begin, to stop waiting and start doing. This is not imagination. This is the planet of physical energy entering the sign that amplifies physical energy beyond all other signs. Your body will register this shift before your calendar reminds you it happened. Now let me show you the specific architecture of this transit. Because Mars will remain in Aries until May 22nd, 2026. That gives you approximately 6 weeks. But within those 6 weeks, certain days carry exponentially more power than others. And if you understand the map, you can plant your flags at the peaks rather than wandering the valleys. The first peak arrives on April 12th, just 3 days after Mars enters Aries. On this day, Mars at 3 degrees of Aries forms a powerful conjunction with the North Node, which has been traveling through Aries since January. The North Node is not a planet. It is the point of destiny, the direction the soul is being pulled toward in this lifetime. When Mars, the planet of action, meets the North Node, the planet of fate, in the sign they both call home, the message is unmistakable. The actions you take on this day are not random choices. They are destiny moves. They set trajectories that cannot be easily altered. Think about what you want to set in motion. Think about the decision you have been circling, the step you have been afraid to take, the confrontation you have been avoiding. April 12th is not the day to think more. It is the day to move. The North Node will receive your action like a river receives a stone, carrying the ripples forward into futures you cannot yet see. The second peak arrives on April 18th. This is when Mars reaches 15 degrees of Aries and forms a perfect trine to the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The galactic center is the heart of our galaxy, the supermassive black hole around which our entire solar system orbits. When planets aspect the galactic center, the signal they carry is broadcast across a cosmic scale. The trine is the most harmonious aspect in astrology, the geometry of flow and support. On April 18th, your actions receive backing from the center of the galaxy itself. That is not metaphor. That is astronomy translated into meaning. The third peak arrives on April 26th. Mars at 23 degrees of Aries squares Pluto at 4 degrees of Aquarius. Now, squares are not comfortable. They are tension, friction, confrontation. But Mars thrives on confrontation. This square will force you to face a power greater than yourself, but it will also reveal the power you did not know you had. Pluto strips away pretense and reveals what is real. Mars provides the courage to act on what is revealed. This day may bring conflict, but it will be the kind of conflict that clarifies. After April 26th, you will know exactly where you stand and exactly what you need to do about it. The fourth peak arrives on May 10th. Mars at 28 degrees of Aries forms a sextile to Jupiter at 20 degrees of Cancer. Jupiter is the great benefic, the planet of expansion, luck, and meaning. A sextile is an opportunity aspect, a door left slightly open. On this day, the aggressive energy of Mars combines with the generous expansion of Jupiter in a harmony that rewards bold action with tangible results. This is the day to ask for what you want. This is the day to pitch, to propose, to present. Jupiter opens doors, Mars walks through them. Let me tell you what this transit will feel like in your body. Because Mars is not an intellectual planet. It does not speak through thoughts. It speaks through sensation, through impulse, through the raw physical experience of being alive. In the days surrounding April 9th, you may notice your body temperature rising. Not fever, nothing medical, just a subtle but persistent warmth that seems to come from inside. This is Mars activating your blood, literally increasing circulation as the planet of iron enters its home sign. Iron is ruled by Mars. Your hemoglobin, the molecule that carries oxygen through your blood, is built around iron atoms. When Mars is strong, your blood runs hotter. You may notice your sleep patterns changing. Not insomnia exactly, but earlier waking, more energy in the morning, a reduced need for the slow warm-up that Pisces Mars required. Aries Mars wakes up ready. It does not need coffee. It needs a target. Your muscles may feel more responsive, almost eager. The urge to exercise, to move, to use your body in physical ways will increase. If you have been sedentary, this transit will make that sedentariness uncomfortable. Your body will demand expression. The gym, the running path, the yoga mat, the dance floor, something physical must be engaged. And here is what you must watch. Mars in Aries also rules anger. Specifically, it rules the kind of anger that flares fast and burns hot. The temper that speaks before thinking. the impulse that acts before considering consequences. In its highest expression, this is decisive courage. In its lowest expression, this is reckless aggression. The mastery of Mars in Aries is not suppression. Suppressing Mars leads to depression, to impotence, to the anger turned inward that becomes self-destruction. The mastery is direction, giving the fire a proper target, ensuring that the sword swings towards something worthy of being struck. Now let me show you how this transit lands specifically in your life. Because where Aries sits in your birth chart determines where the warrior awakens. If you are an Aries or Aries rising, Mars enters your first house of identity. This is your transit more than anyone else's. For 6 weeks, you operate at maximum power. Your presence becomes magnetic, almost aggressive in its impact. People will notice you. People will move out of your way or stand to challenge you. There is no neutral ground with Mars in the first house. This is the time to launch, to begin, to claim what is yours with the full force of your being. Taurus and Taurus rising. Mars enters your 12th house. This is a more complex placement. The 12th house is the realm of the unconscious, the hidden, the spiritual. Mars here fights invisible battles. You may be processing old anger, confronting fears that have no name, working through aggression that was suppressed long ago. This is not a transit for external conquest. This is a transit for inner warfare. The demons you defeat now will not rise again. Gemini and Gemini rising, Mars activates your 11th house of community and future vision. Your social circle becomes a battleground in the best possible sense. You will fight for your friends. You will fight for causes you believe in. Group dynamics that have been stagnant will shift, and you will be the one who shifts them. This is also where you fight for your future. What do you want to exist? What are you willing to build with others? The collective responds to your initiative now. Cancer and Cancer rising, Mars enters your 10th house of career and public life. This is where ambition becomes visible. Your professional drive intensifies dramatically. You will not be content with behind-the-scenes work. You want recognition. You want advancement. You want to win in arenas where winning is measured and public. Be aware that this also brings competition from others who want what you want. Let that competition sharpen you rather than threaten you. Leo and Leo rising. Mars activates your 9th house of expansion, belief, and higher truth. This transit ignites your philosophical fire. You may feel compelled to fight for what you believe, to defend your worldview, to challenge perspectives that feel limiting. Travel is possible and likely. Adventure calls, but so does dogmatism, the shadow of the 9th house. Fight for truth, but remain humble enough to have your truth expanded. Virgo and Virgo rising. Mars enters your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. This is deep territory. Power dynamics in close relationships will intensify. Issues around money, sex, and emotional merging will demand confrontation. This transit does not allow you to avoid the deep. It pulls you under and asks what you are willing to die to. Let something end that needs to end. The resurrection is worth the surrender. Libra and Libra rising. Mars enters your 7th house of partnership. This is the house directly opposite Mars's home, which makes this transit particularly significant for relationships. Conflict with partners is likely, but so is passion. The key question is whether you fight against each other or fight for each other. If a relationship cannot handle direct confrontation, this transit will reveal that weakness. If it can, this transit will forge it stronger. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Mars was your ancient ruler before Pluto was discovered. When Mars enters Aries, it activates your 6th house of health, work, and daily routine. Your energy for practical tasks increases dramatically. This is an excellent transit for beginning new health regimes, for tackling work projects that require sustained effort, for optimizing the machinery of daily life. The danger is overwork, burnout, driving yourself too hard because the fuel feels unlimited. Pace the fire. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Mars activates your 5th house of creativity, romance, and self-expression. This is one of the most enjoyable Mars transits in the zodiac. Your creative energy surges. Your romantic life intensifies. Your desire to play, to perform, to be seen and appreciated becomes almost irresistible. Channel this energy into creative projects and watch what you produce. Fall in love if you are ready. Express what has been waiting for permission to emerge. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Mars enters your 4th house of home, family, and emotional foundation. This transit stirs energy in your private life. Home improvement projects become urgent. Family dynamics demand attention. Old anger related to your roots may surface for resolution. The foundation of your life is being activated, and some demolition may be necessary before new construction can begin. Fight for your peace. Establish your territory. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Mars activates your third house of communication, learning, and local environment. Your words become sharper, more direct, potentially cutting. This is excellent for debate, for persuasion, for any task that requires mental combat. Be careful not to wound with words you cannot take back. Channel the energy into learning new skills, starting new courses of study, having conversations you have been avoiding. Pisces and Pisces rising. Mars enters your second house of resources, values, and self-worth. This transit activates your drive to earn, to acquire, to build material security. You may feel more competitive about money, more willing to fight for what you deserve financially. This is also where you fight for your values, what matters enough to you that you would go to battle for it. This transit asks you to clarify and then to act on that clarity. Now let me give you the practice. Because knowing what is coming is only power if you know how to use it. The ancient warriors understood that Mars energy must be cultivated before battle. It must be summoned deliberately, directed consciously, and released with precision. Here is a 5-day protocol that begins on April 9th and aligns your personal will with the cosmic fire that is descending. Day 1, April 9th, the day Mars enters Aries. Before you sleep, stand somewhere you can face east, the direction of sunrise, the direction of beginnings. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply 3 times. Then speak aloud, not whisper. Speak the words, "I am ready to act." Say it 3 times. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the fire beginning to kindle in your solar plexus. Then go to sleep without speaking to anyone about what you did. Day 2, April 10th. Write down the 3 battles you need to fight. Not metaphorical battles, specific. Name them. The conversation you have been avoiding, the project you have been delaying, the boundary you have been afraid to set. Write them without analysis. Just name the battlefields. Fold the paper and put it in your pocket. Carry it all day. Day 3, April 11th. Move your body intensely, whatever form that takes for you. Run, lift, dance, practice martial arts. The specific activity does not matter. What matters is that you push yourself past the point of comfort. Mars respects effort. It rewards those who show they are willing to sweat, to struggle, to work for what they want. Let your body feel the burn. Let your muscles remember what they were built for. Day 4, April 12th. This is the day Mars meets the North Node. Take the paper you have been carrying and unfold it. Read your 3 battles. Choose the one that matters most. Not the easiest, the one that matters most. Before the day ends, take one concrete action toward that battle. Send the message, book the appointment, start the application, buy the equipment. It does not have to be finished. It has to be begun. Day 5, April 13th. Rest. But rest as a warrior rests, aware that more battles are coming, using the pause to recover and prepare. Take inventory. Notice how your body feels. Notice what has shifted in your psychology. The fire is lit now. The next 6 weeks are yours to direct it. Do not let it scatter. Keep bringing it back to your chosen battlefield until victory is achieved. There is a truth about Mars that must be spoken before we close, and it is the truth that separates those who are empowered by this transit from those who are damaged by it. Mars does not care about fairness. It does not care about feelings. It does not care if you are ready. Mars is pure yang energy, the thrust of existence itself, the force that makes things happen regardless of whether they are convenient. This can be terrifying if you expect the universe to coddle you. It can be liberating if you understand that you have the same force inside you. You were not built to be passive. You were not designed to wait for permission. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you that aggression was wrong, that desire was dangerous, that wanting too much made you a problem, and you internalized that teaching and dampened your fire and wondered why you felt so cold. Mars entering Aries is the universe handing you back your matches. What you burn is your choice. You can burn yourself with undirected rage. You can burn others with cruelty that mistakes itself for strength. Or you can burn the obstacles in your path, the fears that have kept you small, the doubts that have delayed your destiny. The fire itself is neutral. Your intention makes it creative or destructive. The next 6 weeks offer you something rare. They offer you access to your own power without the usual filters and negotiations. Most of life requires compromise. Most of life asks you to consider others, to wait your turn, to share space. But Mars in Aries is a window where the universe says go. Take what is yours. Become who you are. Do not waste this window complaining about those who would compete with you. Competition is the whetstone that sharpens the blade. Do not waste this window being angry about circumstances beyond your control. Direct the anger where it can change something. Do not waste this window in preparation when action is what the moment demands. You are ready, not because everything is perfect, not because all doubt has been resolved. You are ready because the fire is available, and fire does not wait for the firewood to arrange itself more conveniently. On April 9th, when Mars crosses that threshold, something ancient in you will recognize it, something that remembers how to fight, something that knows the taste of victory, something that has been waiting, through all the dissolution and delay and detours of the past 2 years, for permission to move. Permission granted. If this stirred something in you, write it in the comments. Tell me the battle you have chosen. Your declaration becomes a witness for others who are still gathering their courage. Share this with someone who has been waiting too long and fighting too little. They need this transmission as much as you did. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The Mars in Aries window is just the beginning. What follows through April and May will build on this fire in ways that require preparation. I will be here to guide you through each phase. The warrior has returned home. Now it is your turn to remember that you are a warrior too. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.